analyzing deceptive patterns, uncovering truths, hiding in linguistic anomalies. Why does Jenn Soto never say her daughter's name? Maddie, Jenn. Her name is Maddie Soto, not H-E-R.
Of the murder window, which would lead us to start to ask questions of prior involvement or prior knowledge of the crime.
Thank you, Lori.
So as we can see here, we have a graph for the different types of sensitivity. Missing elements are an interesting thing. As you begin to learn how to do statement analysis, sometimes it's the missing parts of a statement which reveal a lot. For instance, a missing pronoun I went to the shops instead of I went to the shops. Left the house instead of I left the house. The missing I sometimes in a sentence.
And I wonder if this guy is like helps law enforcement or what, but even outside of this, guys, this whole like a third of the deception deck I already pulled out from the deck with her deception. So imagine that. Look at all these other indicators. It was like 93%. Yeah, I'm just in a good mood today, y'all. So I'm just messing around a little bit. If someone comes in here and tries to say stuff like that, I'm gonna put them on the spotlight because I was making a very valid point. One Love says, I like to be bullied. Thank you, Marcy C.
Is because the person is removing themselves psychologically from responsibility.
Oh yeah, 5 memberships, guys.
The other thing about her linguistics in this particular interview is we have some very concerning telephone patterns. All 3 of the individuals in the house forgot their phones. Madeline, the child that they told us was dropped off at school, forgot her phone at home. Stephen Stearns, the convicted murderer, forgot his telephone at home whilst he was hiding Madeline's body. And Jennifer Soto also forgot her phone. And we have various things happen to the telephones, like factory resets.
Oh my God, I love this man here. What he's saying. He literally 94% deception. Maddie left her phone, Stefan left his phone, and Jenn left her phone. One time they call it a coincidence. 2 times they start to call it evidence. So remember that, guys. If you're ever in a situation outside of, being on the internet, coincidences don't happen in true crime, in my opinion. 1 time, maybe a coincidence. 2 time, you better start collecting evidence. All right. Thank you, Suzanne. I appreciate you. I love you guys. Thank you guys for helping me and supporting the channel the way you do. Everybody forgot their phone that day. What a coincidence.
We have significant hedging by Jennifer Soto.
Yeah, man.
And
that's crazy.
This is an unusual pattern, which does indicate the possibility of prior knowledge of the crime.
And you guys thank Darlene.
As you begin to learn the skills of an analyst, and what you'll be doing is looking over my shoulder as we analyze the case. For 30 years, I've sat opposite people as an interviewer and forensic linguistic analyst. And what I've learned over analyzing thousands of cases and interviewing thousands of people, that the truth is normally always there if we look carefully. If looking at the transcript afterwards, we can normally find things hidden in the patterns of our language and our unconscious communications. So
and although, guys, I'm not a doctor, but I play it on television. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen that commercial? He goes on and says, I'm not a doctor, but I always play one. And he goes on, I'm not a doctor, but today I am. And what I'm going to tell you, really, though, you don't give your child, everybody knows that, you don't give your child adult medication and then double, triple, whatever. Toxicology will tell you that. Hi, Jade. This is all great analysis, just an interesting, but how is it relevant and helpful as 0? But it doesn't need to have hard evidence, Kissimmee, Florida. And I can't give you the hard evidence. I can't share with you what the evidence is that law enforcement has and that they're using. But listen, law enforcement is, and I assure you, law enforcement does use Veriscope and other forensic analysis. And they have been watching my videos. They told me that they've been watching my videos and listening to the connections that I'm making. So I'm not a police officer, but I play one on TV. But what I am doing is putting Jenn Soto in the spotlight day 5 of 5, hashtag arrest Jenn Soto, while everybody is working behind the scenes to put the case back in the spotlight. That's what I can say. I'm actually gonna play a police officer for Halloween. I've got my vest that says police and my hat and my badge. All right. We need Monster Mommy to, yes, but they are watching this, and yeah, I can't give you the evidence. I can't ruin it, but I can tell you that they're making progress, and it just feels so great what they're doing behind the scenes.
Hopefully what I'll be able to do is teach you the basics and principles of statement analysis rapidly, so that you attain 80 or 90% of the actual ability that
You're
might
a
take
super
decades
duper
to learn.
doctor.
But similar to poker, it takes 10 minutes to learn, but a lifetime to master. So my goal is to rapidly teach you as much as possible in as short as time as we can. So remembering back to the interview, and the detective asked her to start on the Sunday, and then she asked for a tissue immediately. And then did anyone notice she didn't actually use it? So it was preemptive and not needed. But here's the interesting thing that I immediately spotted, and Veriscope, the truth AI, spotted. She says, "This is Sunday. We had a birthday party.
Thank you.
We spent the whole day at my mum's house, and we celebrated with the whole family." Sometimes Madeline's name was redacted in this sentence as well.
And you guys can just look at this, right? You look at this and it says we a bunch of times. I think that was one of the first things you guys picked up on, was the fact that she kept saying we in all the interviews, right? So yeah, this tool is used by law enforcement, and I do have people that I talk to behind the scenes that do this analysis and provide it to law enforcement, although they can't use it on the stand, but they can use it to look at the case again with fresh eyes and see where the deception lies and where they might be able to find evidence. So unfortunately, I'm not a doctor or a police officer, but I am presenting true crime, and hopefully something comes out of it instead of just entertaining you guys.
Well, and then she goes on to say, "I was at work." What's interesting is she wasn't at the birthday party.
Nope.
She couldn't go. She was at work. And she couldn't spend the whole day at her mother's house.
There's a whole card for we.
She was at work. And she couldn't have celebrated with the whole family because she was at work. So we're seeing in her opening statement to these new police officers who are interviewing her for the first time, a deliberate, possibly unconscious through shame or guilt, a deliberate conveying of happy family.
Yep.
Because she wasn't at these events, but is using an incongruent and incorrect pronoun of we.
And guys, sometimes when you're watching an interview, law enforcement looks at what you don't say. They obviously look at what you do say, but they look at what you don't. And Jenn was only home in her story for 30 minutes before Maddie was sent to bed. So think about that. Think about how she tried to make people think, and it made us all mad, right? She called Stefan her Maddie's, what did she call it, stepdad? People thought Stefan was her husband, right? Or her partner. Listen, they weren't even together at that time. They weren't even together. They were broken up at this point. They weren't sleeping together in a sexual manner, she said, for years. Hey, Jay, I pray you have a good weekend with your family. Justice for Maddie. Thank you. Me too. I'm sure it will. Happy Friday, y'all. We're going to do call-ins in a little bit. You're not enough of a bully. Thank you. Thank you. That's a funny thing. Thank you, Joanne. You're not enough of a bully considering the topic of conversation. And then I have whole YouTube channels that call me a dummy for being friends with the Stearns or loving pedos. So you never can win. You just can't win. He called himself a bonus dad, which, again, I still can't even with that. But yeah, I was shocked about that because he was still around. You guys know they dismantled this case right from the get-go when she said she claimed that it was her partner, her boyfriend. Sometimes they called him the husband. They weren't even together, but yet she's painting a picture. Yeah, Stefan said they were cordial, but that's it. She's making it look like Stefan was her stepdad, took over, been raising her. That's her partner. They're married. We didn't go to a birthday party. We didn't spend the day there. We didn't celebrate anything. That's just a bold-faced lie.
Taking
Thank you.
taking the benefit of being there when she wasn't, and that's deceptive. So, as AI has said, this is AI's findings. Watch what's happened here. She uses "we" 3 times for events she wasn't present for, and then admits I was at work. This isn't a slip of the tongue. When someone says "we did something," their brain must access experiential memory for that to be true.
And you guys just take that. Just take what he just said there. It's not an accident. It's her brain accessing what we did, meaning what her and Stefan did in order to get to the end of what happened to Maddie. She says it so many times. If you count the time she says we, it's probably hundreds of times throughout all the interviews, up until the point where she has to sit down and write it down with the lawyer. She can't say we anymore, but she didn't know they were going to find Maddie's body the day they did, and she didn't know that they were going to find all the CSAM. All right. I think Jen thought all she had to do was report that she did. Madeline was missing. She had a visit from the police around midnight on the night. She reported she seemed mad that night and high, by the way. Yeah, she did. I got to say, I do think that she thought that's all she had to do. And then they can just chill out and just wait. All right. No, Stefan's not able to watch my videos at all. All right, let's keep going.
True. You cannot remember what you didn't experience. And so this is like claiming to remember the taste of food that you actually didn't eat. So her mind reveals either that she's been told these details so thoroughly that she's absorbed them as a memory, or she requires psychological unity with whoever was there for some reason, or she's being extremely deceptive. And as the AI says, either way,
I'd say extremely deceptive.